Good morning, South Middle School. Today is Thursday, September 24th. It is the 7th day of our school year. Weather today is expected to be cloudy all day, but approaching 80, so that'll be another good day to get out in the afternoons and get some exercise. We have 3 birthday wishes this morning. Dominic Allen, happy birthday. For Vivian Lynn, happy birthday. And happy birthday also to Kevin Zhu. Please rise and recite with me the Pledge of Allegiance. Let's begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And now a moment of silence. Thank you very much. This morning is the first day that Cohort B students in the hybrid model will be returning to school. For the Remote Academy students, this is the beginning of your second week in Remote Academy, although it's still the first week with schedules, so routines are still being established, but we're starting to see how the year shapes up. For Cohort A students, you'll be accessing this morning your synchronous specials, and then for Cohort B students, you'll be having synchronous majors in the morning and then asynchronous classes in the afternoon. One reminder that I have for those in the hybrid model, and really for those in the remote model, but not so much related to school, is that when you are in person, out in public, it's really important to maintain a safe physical distance. So for the hybrid model students who are returning to school, there are guidelines, there are instructions, we have systems in place to try to help students to stay apart from one another, but the reality of this is that we all have a personal responsibility to protect one another and to protect ourselves. And by protecting ourselves, we're also keeping safe our families by trying to prevent the spread of infection within ourselves that we could potentially bring into our homes. It's really important for all of us to have some time in school, and we do want to continue to support that, but it's important for every individual to realize that when you do come into school, you're accepting an additional risk to yourself, which means you're also accepting an additional responsibility. As middle schoolers, we often talk about that added responsibility as you get older. And so part of that is that we're not going to be in a situation where there's going to be a teacher there at all times to remind students how to space out. Frankly, I don't think most middle schoolers would want a teacher over their shoulder all the time. But without our presence, it's the responsibility of the individual students or the group of students, your friends, as much as you're happy to see each other, to make sure that you're doing everything you can to stay safe. So that means even when you're outside, you should be keeping your masks on. And if you are standing too close, the goal would be to stay at least 3 feet, but ideally closer to 6 feet away from one another. If you have masks off, it's really important to stay much farther away than that. So, for example, in the morning, I know that some families are dropping off from carpools before we are able to open the doors at 7:50. And if that's the case, I understand that that's the schedule for some families, especially if you're trying to get across town and drop off a sibling or something like that at school, if you're trying to get to work yourself. But the individual students really need to take on the responsibility to space out, to spread out in front of South. We have a long sidewalk, we have large lawns on either side, and it's in everyone's best interest to space out while you're waiting for the doors to open. We are able to open the doors only when the teachers have reported to work for everyone's safety. So, we're doing everything we can to try to limit the number of people that are coming in at a given moment, but that also requires a lot of patience on everyone's part. And in that moment of patience, I would just remind you to please continue to protect yourselves by maintaining a safe physical distance of 6 feet ideally. The same goes for dismissal from school. Old habits still stand, and so when people are leaving, if you tend to funnel and go through a large crowded doorway, that's going to be a risky situation. So it's just a matter of being patient, taking a few extra steps to stay back and maintain that distance. And again, this is good life guidance for everyone who's also in our remote academy, because as you know, the economy is opening up and everything, you might start to go back into stores with your parents. You just need to make sure that you're doing everything you can. We can't expect everyone else to follow the rules that we've set for ourselves, right? And so it's important to make sure that you're doing everything you can to maintain a distance from those around you. If you're in a bubble with somebody, if you've been hanging out with your neighbors or your cousins or your siblings, obviously you don't have to worry about infection within that crowd. But whenever you're mixing a group, really please do everything you can to protect yourselves, because as we say every day, be good to yourself, take care of each other, take care of your school.